Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyobhavat Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Gukarastvandhakaro vai Rukarastannivartakaha Andhakara nirodhitvad Gururitya vidhiyate. Read the second verse. Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam Chinmatra vistaritam Sarvam chaitad vidyaya trigunaya Ashesham maya kalpitam Ittham yasya dudamati sukhatare Nitye pare nirmale Chandalostu satudvijostu guruhu Ityesha Manisha mama. Brahmayavaham Aham Brahma eva. I am Brahman alone and nothing else. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Brahmava idamagrasid tadatmanameva aham brahmasmiti. So this statement comes from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where we find this Mahavakya, aham brahmasmi. Upanishad says, Brahmava idamagrasid. Idam, this one, this individual sitting in front of the teacher, the aspirant, Agre, even before he knew his own self, he or she was Brahman. So Brahmava idam agre asid. Very important thing is that even when we do not know our true nature, we are Brahman. That's a saving grace. It is not that we become Brahman by knowing Brahman. We are Brahman whether we know it or not. Like that person is 10th man whether he knows it or not. Brahmava idam agrasi. Idam meaning this entity, this aspirant sitting in front of the teacher was Brahman agre. Before meaning even before he or she knew it. Then only you can say you are Brahman. You cannot say you are Brahman by someone who is not Brahman. Even if Shruti, Upanishad says, so what? Upanishad can only reveal what is, it cannot create what is not. They say Jnapakam natu karakam. A statement only reveals what is, it cannot create what is not. Meaning that even if Upanishad says you are Brahman, and you are not Brahman, you don't become Brahman even if the Upanishad says that or anybody says that. But they say because you are Brahman, then why do you need to be told? Agre asit, because he does not know that I am Brahman. He is Brahman and does not know I am Brahman. That's a very unique situation obtains in our life. Only Vedanta can tell us this. And that's the saving grace. Even if I don't know, I am not yet gained that knowledge, still I can always remind myself. Shruti says I am Brahman, therefore I am Brahman. And so I am not the helpless, hapless creature that I take myself to be. A small, little, helpless, hapless creature. That's what I am accustomed to take myself to be. I am not that. Brahmava idamagrasit tadatmanam evaved. That aspirant, that one, atmanam aved, knew the self. How? Aham brahmasmi iti, I am Brahman. That is how he knew himself, because he was Brahman. So, he is Brahman, still does not know, therefore he needs somebody to tell him that. The reason why we need to go to the Guru is because there are realities in our life, and if you know those realities, then there remains no problem, but then we don't know them, so we do not know ourselves. Had we known ourselves, life would have been quite different. So he is told, Natvam samsare, hey, you are not samsari. Brahmatpamasi, you are in fact Brahma. So this is what essentially the teacher says to the disciple. All along only one message. So many years the lectures go on. So many texts are studied. And one thing alone is repeated. You are Brahman, you are Brahman, you are Brahman in every class. Or Puja Swami, it is once the teacher should say you are Brahman in some way or the other. Because that is what is to be communicated. In one way or the other, this is, and you see, if you think of what we are told, your Brahman is, you are a beautiful person, you are a loving, kind, compassionate, beautiful, you are. So Vedanta, this is what Vedanta teaches. The world says you are stupid, you are this, you are that, this is what the world tells me. But Vedanta says you are beautiful, you are Ananda, you are Shanta, you are tranquil, you are happiness. And I need to be told because I think I am opposite of that, unfortunately. I am born with the notion that I am quite contrary to this, that I am a limited being. I am born with that kind of a notion somehow. And my life is lived based on whatever my notion is. Whatever I think I am, whatever perception I have of myself becomes the basis of my life at any time. At any moment, how do I interact with you? Whatever is my notion or perception of myself. So you are Brahman. The teacher helps the disciple change the perception of the self. Tadatmanam evavet aham brahmasmi iti. Since he is Brahman and he is told that you are Brahman, therefore he comes to know that I am Brahman. Not that just because teacher says that he is Brahman, but because he is Brahman, and so the teacher says, Tasmat tassaram abhavat. So what is the result of this knowledge? Tasmat, by virtue of that knowledge, tatsaram abhavat, this one became everything. The one sitting in front of the teacher, who is Brahman even before he or she knows, is told that you are not what you take yourself to be, you are not a samsari that you take yourself to be. You are Brahman, you are limitless. He is made to see, not just told. And by virtue of this knowledge, he became everything. How can he become everything? Because you are everything. You are the self of all. The one that is the self of this body-mind complex is also the self of every body, mind and complex. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmaiva buddhvijantaha. So one who knows sarvani bhutani atmanyevanu pashyati sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam. One who sees the self in all the beings and all the beings in the self. One who sees the self in all the beings, like this little ear, nosing or earring, whatever it is, sees Atmanam, gold in all the ornaments. All ornaments in gold, meaning what? All ornaments are nothing but the modification of gold. So non-duality means that this little thing sees itself, first its own perception is changed from my being a nosing, I am gold. And that way sees the self in all the ornaments, in all ornaments in the self, because all ornaments are nothing but gold. This is the vision of non-duality. And that is how I became all, because I am all. This is all ornaments. What prevents it from becoming that is just a lack of knowledge. So, Brahma Yavaham. So that statement is repeated here, that I am Brahma, Brahma Eva, I am Brahman alone. Saivaham, Saivaham, Brahma Evaham. You are Brahman, what about the whole universe? So the verse continues, Idam jagatya sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. Idam jagatya sakalam. Idam sakalam jagat. Jagat means the universe. The word jagat is explained as gacchati iti jagat. The word jagat is derived from the root gam, to go. Gacchati iti jagat, that which keeps going, meaning constantly changing. Although it is also explained as jagat jayate gacchati iti jagat. That is born, that keeps going and changing, is called jagat. Jagatya sakalam. Yet kincha jagatyam, jagat means that which is constantly changing, this universe. Sakalam, the entire jagat. Vedanta always makes it a point to say everything is idam sakalam. So, yat kincha jagatyam, whatever it is Ishvara. It doesn't divide the universe into good, bad, whatever it is. An ornament is ornament. It may be, not a well done ornament, but it's still gold. Idam cha jagat sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. The whole universe is nothing but the vistara, a manifestation of chit or consciousness, was explained earlier. So what is chit or consciousness? We said it is asti bhati priyam. That's one way of appreciating that what is, shines in my awareness and serves a useful purpose. And the asti bhati priyam. So this much credit we should give to everybody, everything. Even poison also. Asti bhati priyam. To the snake it may be dear. Everything is dear to somebody. Even the garbage that you throw away also is dear to some animal, cow, etc., somebody waiting there. In India, people just, in the cooking, in Surat, etc., just throw things away. The cow knows exactly at what time this is all the vegetable cuttings are going to come and so forth. He's waiting there. There was a joke, there was a Jyotindra Desai, is it? Dave, Jyotindra Dave from Surat, a very, humorous person. So in Surat, when a friend was visiting him, and so he went out with his friend, and Jyotindra Dave picked up an umbrella. I said, why do you need umbrella? He said, you'll find out, They started walking, the rain came, what rain? People without any hesitation, they just throw to the street. If there is some dal and something, you should throw away right there. Whatever it is in Jagat, good, bad, indifferent, all of that is included. Everything is Chinmatra Vistara. It is consciousness that manifests as a universe. This is a very profound principle, and we have to change our understanding of what consciousness is. We already discussed in the morning that we generally associate consciousness only with the living beings. We think that consciousness is a living being, and there is no consciousness in these lifeless things like tables and chairs. But Vedanta says that consciousness is everywhere. Where consciousness is asti, bhati, priyam. Existence, awareness, existence, intelligence. So this table also, as I said, functions intelligently. There is intelligence, existence, usefulness. And that's how Chinmatra Vistaritam, the whole universe is Vistara, manifestation of Chit, consciousness, Asti Bhati Priyam, Brahman. So how did that happen? How is that the whole universe is Vistara or manifestation of Chaitanya? But Chaitanya cannot do anything. Chaitanya means changeless. Consciousness is changeless. Vedantins explain to us that Brahman is the material cause. Abhinna nimitta upadana, it is the intelligent cause, the material cause. You know what is material cause? And the clay is the material cause of this pot. Clay is the material from which the pot is made. So what's the basic material of which the universe is made? So if physicists may say it's God particle, some particle, what will Vedanta say? What is the substance of which the universe is made? Consciousness. Hey, what Swami? Everything in the world is constantly changing. How can consciousness that is changeless become this universe that is constantly changing? How can consciousness, the changeless, be the material or substance of which the changing creation is, the universe is created or made? It's a big secret. And that is where only Vedanta has the contribution. And Vedanta says what this second line says. All these thinkers in India also took this world as real. Whether Nayayikas are there, Vaisheshikas are there, Mimamsakas are there, whoever the philosophers are there, even Sankhyas also, for all of them, the world is real, tangible, real. Sankhya would say, Purusha is conscious, being is real, Prakriti, matter also is real. Only Vedantin says that the Jagat is not real. But how can you say it's not real? It's tangible. This table, how can you say it is mithya? You are putting your books there, you are using this table as a useful entity. Everything in the creation serves a useful purpose. How can you say it is mithya? What is mithya? Mithya means doesn't do anything. What is mithya? So that is where we get quite, thrown off. To say that the table is mithya, how do you say a table serves the purpose? Ice cream is not mithya, it gives me joy. Things are not mithya, they serve the purpose. So our great Nayayikas also say Jagat is Satyam because everything serves the purpose. Water is real because it serves the purpose of quenching my thirst, that water. There may be mirage water which does not serve the purpose, they also will call it mithya. For them also there is something mithya which does not serve the purpose. Is real that serves the purpose. So that water is real because the water in my pitcher is real because it serves the purpose of quenching the thirst. Does it not? It does. Except our Gaudabadacharya asked. The other day I was sleeping and dreaming, and I was thirsty for 3 days, looking for water everywhere. Where in the dream? And that pitcher of water is right beside his bed. But that water did not become useful to him when he really needed it in his dream. How do you say water is useful? So usefulness argument, you can see how even that something is real because it serves the purpose. Water is real because it serves the purpose of quenching my thirst. Acharya says it doesn't always serve the purpose. It does not serve the purpose of mind. In dream, when I am thirsty, this water which is beside my bed becomes not useful to me. I know you are confused. But this means that water is not consistently useful. It is not useful under all circumstances. In waking state it is useful, but not useful in other state. And so, usefulness must be unconditional. Then only you can call it real. So, even if you want to prove that Jagat is real, because the table is real because it serves the purpose, it serves the purpose under certain conditions, not under other conditions. Not unconditionally serves the purpose. But unconditional, truth is unconditional. So that way, nothing is ultimately real. So this is just for you that there are those who say that things are real because they serve the purpose. Then Vedanta says that a thing serves the purpose only under favorable conditions, not under every condition. So you cannot say that it serves the purpose because it does not serve the purpose when conditions are not favorable, like when I am not awake, when I am dreaming. So no definition of Satyam applies to world. People have different definition of Satya. What is truth? What is real? And what do you mean, Swami? What do you mean by real? What is truth? I must have told you about Swamiji's episode when he was giving talks in California. And it was one of the universities, and so Berkeley? All right, Berkeley. So Swamiji concluded the first talk by saying that I'm going to define truth. That's the style, You push punchlines, that fellow are always, they have to come next day. What is he going to say? no sooner the talk is over than one professor came. Swamiji, you said you're going to define truth? God defined, is God defiled? You can't define truth. You'll come to the class tomorrow. No, I'll come to the, but you tell me today. He's so anxious. All right, what's our definition of truth? That which cannot be negated is truth. I was amazed, all right. Then he thought over the thing for the whole night. Next day again he came before the lecture. Swamiji, you told me, you defined the truth, that which cannot be negated is truth. That's a beautiful definition. But everything can be negated. Come to the class. No, I will come to you. Tell me right now, You cannot negate the negator. You cannot negate yourself. You can negate everything other than you, but cannot negate yourself. So who is the truth? I am the truth. I'm looking for it everywhere. That's the problem. Because I have such complexes about myself. And that complex, that notions born of ignorance is what deprives me of the benefit of who I am. I'm searching everywhere for who I already am. Life is a tragedy, really. We search in wealth and power and fame and swarga and, under the earth, above in the space. There are all wonderful things to do. Science, we enjoy. But as I say, if you are searching for truth, searching where it is not. So science will always search in the particle. They will split particles, find more fine particles. They will come up with wonderful things, So we really respect them. But the whole method is that conclusion is truth is outside of myself. So that is the first conclusion with their functioning. But truth is the nature of the one who is investigating. That will never happen. Anyway, so the chinmatra vistaram, therefore, whatever it is ultimately can be reduced to Atmanam avet tasmat tatsram abhavat. Therefore, he became everything. He recognized, I am Chit, I am consciousness. And then again, everything is consciousness. And therefore, he became everything. Because he is everything. Brahmayavaham jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. The whole universe is the vistara, the expression of consciousness. So you mean that just as the waves of the ocean is the vistara, the manifestation of water, and water is the material cause, you mean consciousness is the material cause from which the universe is made? That means if you take something and probe into that, you must arrive at consciousness. If consciousness is what the table is made of, then if you investigate what table is, you should arrive at consciousness, is it not? Will you? The scientists have told them that as they keep on subdividing particles, ultimately it disappears. Becomes so fine that nothing remains there. Nothing remains. Nothing remains. Energy. Energy remains. Okay. Energy also may disappear. The investigator remains. What is disappearable disappears. What is negatable gets negated. What is non-negatable cannot be negated, meaning that everything disappears when it subdivides. Leaving who? Leaving this very investigator. This is done in Vedanta. Shankaracharya does in exercise in Kathopanishad. And says that when you subdivide, so when I break this pot its name and form changes. It's called shards, name and form changes. And further subdivided, it becomes powder, the name and form changes. But pot is, the piece is, the pebble is, the powder is, the molecule is, the atom is, the isness is never negated. Its form and name, they keep on changing, but that part is, that the pieces are, that the clay is, that the molecules are, that the atoms are. The Sat or existence ever is and ever. Even if this disappears, Sat does not disappear, because in your mind, Sat, you can never think of anything without Sat. Buddhi cannot think of something that does not exist, by the way. You try. Try to think of something that does not exist. Yes, Swami, I am thinking of a horn on your head. I invite you to think of something that does not exist. So these young people say, yes, Swami, I am thinking of the horn on your head. It's not there. Isn't it? Is it there? No. But head is also there, horn also is there. It may not be on my head, but the horn is there. You can't think of something that does not exist. Horn exists, not here, somewhere else it exists. Meaning we cannot think of something that does not exist. Understand? Buddhi always functions in the realm of something that exists. So this non-existence that the Buddhas talk about is just a figment of imagination. You cannot arrive at non-existence. Anyway, why? I don't want to further confuse you, but this is the point is that chinmatra vistaridam, sanmatra vistaridam. The whole universe is manifestation of Chit, or manifestation of Sat, or manifestation of Ananda. So Chandogya Upanishad talks about Sat. The 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad talks about Sat. Sanmulaha somya me jivaha sadayatana sat pratishtha. Hey Somya, the root of this is Sat, sustained by Sat, protected by Sat, merges into Sat. So second line says, how did consciousness can create this? Consciousness cannot become the material because material must undergo change. Consciousness cannot undergo change. How can consciousness of Brahman be the material cause? We declare. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam is both the material and an efficient cause. But how can Brahman become material cause? How can consciousness become material cause? Consciousness cannot change. The clay must undergo change to become pot. A material cause must undergo change to become an effect. Consciousness cannot change. How can it become the material cause? So consciousness that is changeless, if that has to be a material cause, the only way, only kind of creation it can be is what? Mithya creation. Meaning that it is just a projection or appearance. It cannot be a real creation because the material cannot undergo change. Avidya, so second line says, Sarvam chaetat avidya trigunaya ashesham maya kalpitam. The universe is nothing but manifestation of Chit or consciousness. How did it come into being? By ignorance. So ignorance becomes the primary material cause. So if you really probe into what it is, it will lead to ultimately ignorance. Avidya, Trigunaya. Avidya, that has 3 gunas, Trigunatmika, Sattvajastamo Gunatmika. Ashesham Maya Kalpitam, he says, it has been projected by me, whose consciousness by me, with the help of ignorance, are projected the whole universe of names and forms. Again, So Aham Brahmasmi, that Mahavakya is being explained. So how you are Brahman? Because I have created the whole world. You have created the world. Yes. Which you? I who is consciousness. Not I who is Jivatma. I is Brahman have created this world. With the help of what? With the help of ignorance. Meaning that the world is projected like dream. Like in the dream, I project the dream world, so also the waking world also is projected. Waking world also is kalpana. The dream is kalpana. Waking also is like that. When I am in dream, everything, Swami, when in dream, everything looks very real and tangible. There also our head is stable like this. Where? In dream. When I wake up, I realize that it was mithya. So how is the dream world created? Who creates? I create. With help of what? With my mind I project it. Except that I do not know that I am the creator, so I am ignorant. So just as ignorance also is a product of, dream also is product of ignorance. So this waking world also is not materially much different from dream because it is a grand dream. Dream is the projection of an individual mind. This projection of the cosmic mind. Ishvara's mind. It's called Ishvara Srishti and Jiva Srishti. Dream is my particular creation, Jiva Srishti. Universe is Ishvara Srishti. But both are projected. Ishvara projects with his cosmic mind. I project the dream world with my individual mind. But what we call waking world also is nothing but a projection. So you say that, so it doesn't become just by you saying. But haven't the scientists told us that what we see as matter are nothing but the vibrations of energy? Is it not so? That Jagat is mithya is proven by physicists. Einstein demonstrated with all kinds of experiments as to how this Jagat also is a projection. He used the word projection. The three-dimensional Jagat is projection of a reality which is of a higher dimension. This is the word projection. He says, suppose our eyes were such that we could not see the depth. Suppose we are able to see the length and width and depth, 3 dimensions we can see. Suppose we had eyes such that we could not see the depth, then all of these will be flat things, But just because I see 2 dimensions doesn't mean that is the ultimate reality. There can be 3 dimensions, but then I do not have the ability to see that. So all we can see is 3 dimensions. That's the kind of faculty given to us. That doesn't mean that's all there is. He says, just as this is a projection, what you see is a projection of something that is a higher reality. I am saying because already scientists have described this as a projection. Like a shadow, my shadow, so also. But Swamiji, you can't call this projection, you can't call this imagination, this is. But then, Einstein conducted his experiments and said, how these things appear depend upon the observer. If you are riding in a spaceship, of which you can increase the speed, as the speed increases, this column that appears having very firm lines, tangible lines, slowly those lines start melting. If the observer is observing from a platform that itself is moving, then what appears slowly changes as the speed increases. If my vehicle goes the speed of light, this will disappear. Meaning that what we see depends upon the seer, how we see. And therefore, it's all a standpoint. What is absolute? Not a standpoint. It's the same from every. So, at all times, all places, all conditions, one that does not remains unchanged is called truth. Everything changes depending upon the space and time and condition. But they demonstrate it. Difficult for us to say this is mithya. What do you mean, Swami? What is mithya? Can you pass through that? They ask this question. Vedanta, the wall is mithya? Can you pass through that? Is that the requirement? Because it's mithya, I should pass through it. They think that wall, you call it mithya, therefore you should be able to pass through it. But this body also is mithya. Passing through also is mithya. That's what Vedantins, Like they say, when this Vedantic teacher is walking on a narrow street and an elephant was coming from the other side and the elephant rider Mahavat said, "Hey, move away, move away, move away." So this Vedantin ran away. So disciple asked, "Sir, you say that everything is mithya. So elephant is mithya, then why did you run away? Elephant is mithya, why did you run away?" Says, "My running away also is mithya." Mithya does not mean we do not see. Mithya does not mean we do not experience. Mithya means it is not what we think it is. If you examine what it is, it will reduce to something else, something else. In the dream also all these things appear very tangible. But so mithya is that which is not really there but which appears, is called mithya. And that alone can be created, no real thing can be created. And therefore this creation is creation of ignorance. Avidya, I projected the whole mithya universe by avidya. Ashesham maya kalpitam, by me. The teacher says, by me, the whole universe, along, without exception. Sometimes Shesham, Shaisham, along with Ishvara, but it's too big a thing. Therefore, Ashesham, the entire universe is projected by me, by my avidya. Ittham yasya dhuramatihi sukhatare nitye pare nirmale chandalostu satudvijostu guru ityesha manisha mama. The third line we will discuss in the next class. I don't know why I chose this text, by the way, because I should have known that this is a very difficult text and very complicated concepts. And therefore, if you think that you are getting lost, it is not to be surprised. If you think that Swamiji is confusing us, also not surprising.
We like it.
But we'll continue. We will continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. शांति तेहि हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।